Good evening and welcome to Just the News. I'm Faye D'Souza. We're going to give you the news today, starting with what's going on in India and then a full update of the latest from Afghanistan as well. Starting with India, cooking gas or your LPG cylinder prices have been hiked by another 25 rupees as of today. I say another 25 rupees because the prices have been hiked continuously from last year. Let me take you through where it is right now. So the 14.2 kg cylinder, which is what people normally use to cook in their homes, will now cost 859 rupees and 50 paise in Delhi and Mumbai. Kolkata has the highest price right now with 886 rupees per cylinder. Now remember, there used to be a subsidized cylinder and a non-subsidized cylinder. There's no difference right now because over the last year, the government actually removed the difference. And so there is no subsidy anymore. In July, the price was hiked. In June, the price was hiked. So from January this year until today, the price of the cylinders have been hiked by 165 rupees in this year alone. In November last year, the price was 594. Today, it is 859. Remember, this price also comes at a time when petrol and diesel are hovering at all-time highs of 100 rupees a litre, putting enormous pressure on household budgets at a time when many people have either lost their jobs or taken pay cuts. It is making it very difficult for many families across the country to make ends meet because cooking gas is a necessity. It's not something any family can do without. There's some good news though. Justice B.V. Nagarathna could be India's first ever Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in 2027. The Supreme Court Collegium has recommended names of 9 judges to be elevated to the Supreme Court from High Courts normally. 3 of them are women. Now, Justice Hima Kohli and Justice Bela Trivedi are the 2 other women judges on the list of the Collegium. Now, the list has to be approved by the central government. But Justice B.V. Nagarathna, presently a judge at the Karnataka High Court, was appointed as additional judge of the High Court of Karnataka in 2008 and a permanent judge nearly 2 years later. Now, a lot of people have written to me on Instagram asking why in 2027 and not now. So once a judge is appointed to the Supreme Court, remember they all retire at a certain age. So the Chief Justice position moves on seniority and then they get the Chief Justice position and then they retire. Some of them retire before they reach that seniority level. So the seniority is based on when you get elevated to the Supreme Court, but retirement is based on your age. So it happens for some, it doesn't happen for the other. But when they are appointed, you can map to find out whether this person, age-wise, seniority-wise, will become Chief Justice. And this is the first time in the history of independent India that a woman may become Chief Justice, provided the list is, approved by the central government. On to a report from Afghanistan right now. Now, remember how over the last couple of days there was talk about the fact that the Taliban might be reforming itself, changing its spots to stripes per se, and wants to be taken more seriously as a government, that they plan to or they have promised to respect human rights, they promised to respect the rights of women. And some people were saying maybe we should give them a chance. A massive dent has been dealt into that particular argument today. And this is why 3 people are dead and 12 injured that we know of after Taliban gunmen fired into a crowd of protesters today to stop them from protesting. Now, this doesn't sound like a reformed Taliban. This sounds like the Taliban that we're used to hearing about from 1996 and 2001. So this is what happened in the Afghan city of Jalalabad. There was a protest that they were protesting the Taliban takeover. So they took down the Taliban flag and replaced it with the Afghan Republic flag. The Taliban first fired into the air to disperse the crowd, and when that didn't work, they fired at the crowd. Now, Jalalabad is the traditional hub of the annual Independence Day celebration in Afghanistan, which takes place every year on the 19th of August, when apparently the British government recognized Afghan independence back in 1919. Firing was also reported in another area in the central square of the Daronta district just outside of Jalalabad, where again people there replaced the Taliban flag. And in Khost, the southeastern part of the country, there were demonstrations with photos and videos showing hundreds of people taking to the streets. India has introduced a new E category of visa for Afghan nationals to fast track their applications for entry into India. Reports say that these visas are valid for 6 months only and will be granted only after security clearance. A statement from the Ministry of Home Affairs on Tuesday said, and I quote, MHA reviews visa provisions in view of the current situation in Afghanistan. A new category of electronic visa called the E-Emergency X Miscellaneous Visa introduced to fast-track applications of entry into India. There's no clarity on what will happen when this validity period of the visa expires. In Uttar Pradesh, a case of sedition has been filed against Samajwadi Party MP and 2 others in the Sambal district over alleged remarks comparing the Taliban to India's freedom fighters. The superintendent of police at the Chambal district said in a statement, and I quote, a case was registered late last night against Shafiqur Rahman Bark and 2 others for provocative statements about the Taliban where they compared them to India's freedom fighters and their victory was celebrated, end quote. On Monday, Samajwadi Party's Shafiqur Bark, a Lok Sabha MP from Sambal, allegedly told reporters that the Taliban want Afghanistan to be free and want to run their own country, end quote. However, Bark has now said that his statements were misinterpreted. According to his statement to ANI, he says, I didn't make a statement comparing the Taliban to Indian freedom fighters. My statement was misinterpreted. I am a citizen of India, not Afghanistan. And so I have no business with what is happening there. I support my government's policies, end quote. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor has been cleared by a Delhi court today of all charges linked to the mysterious death of his wife Sunanda Pushkar back in 2014. Sunanda Pushkar was found dead in the suite of a luxury hotel in Delhi on the night of the 17th of January 2014 when Shashi Tharoor was attending a Congress meet in Delhi along with the then Prime Minister and the entire Congress leadership. Shashi Tharoor was charged with abetment to suicide and cruelty by the Delhi police. In a statement released today, Shashi Tharoor said, and I quote, this brings a significant conclusion to the long nightmare that enveloped me after the tragic passing of my wife. I have weathered dozens of unfound accusations and media vilification patiently, sustained my faith in the judiciary, which today stands vindicated, end quote. And on to now a COVID update. India reported 35,178 COVID cases and 440 deaths in the last 24 hours. Now, this number has come back up from 25,000 odd cases that we reported just yesterday, but it's staying in that vicinity and has not climbed up to 40,000 in a while. Kerala accounted for 61% of those cases, with the state reporting 21,427 cases. According to PTI, Serum Institute of India chairperson Cyrus Poonawalla, remember this is CEO Adar Poonawalla's father, has said a 3rd dose of the vaccine is a must 6 months after taking the 2nd dose, especially for those with weak immune systems. Now, he's also said that he himself and 7,000 Serum Institute of India employees have already taken their 3rd dose of Covishield. Now, the government has not recommended a 3rd dose. For a lot of people, they haven't done their 2nd dose yet, but there are other countries that are giving booster doses or 3rd doses to their citizens. Now, this comes after Cyrus Poonawalla advised against mixing of doses because there is a study being conducted right now. He said basically, if there is a problem after the doses are mixed, no one will be held accountable because each manufacturer of one of those doses will blame the other. But one of the important things that he also made is a statement about was the gap between the 2 doses. Now, remember, the government had extended that gap to nearly 3 months at a time when we found out the medical professionals had only advised the government to extend the gap by 12 weeks. It extended by about 16 weeks now. Cyrus Poonawalla has said, and I quote, in reality, you should take it within 2 or 3 months. But when the product was not available, the Modi government decided that it can be given in a 3-month gap. Actually, it's best taken within 2 months, end quote. So he effectively has said that the gap was widened because of a shortage of supply and not because of medical advice. News coming in right now from across the world. In a shocking video that has surfaced on the internet, a woman TikToker in Pakistan's Lahore is being seen assaulted by hundreds of men at the same time. Her clothes were torn and thrown away by these men. The woman allegedly said she was assaulted and thrown into the air by hundreds of people on the country's Independence Day celebration on the 14th of August. The Lahore police on Tuesday have registered a case against hundreds of unidentified people for assaulting the woman. In her complaint, she said that she, along with 6 of her companions, were filming a video near Pakistan on Independence Day on Saturday, where 300 to 400 people attacked them. She alleged that her jewelry was stolen as well. She said, observing the situation, the park's security guard opened the gate to the enclosure around the Pakistan. People were pushing and pulling me to the extent that they tore my clothes. Several people tried to help me, but the crowd was too large and they kept throwing me in the air, end quote. In New Zealand, the Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, has said that the country's first community COVID case in 6 months is a Delta variant case, and the genome sequencing shows that it's linked to the growing outbreak in neighbouring Australia. The Delta or variant, remember, first originated in India. Now, they got 1 case, and the country of New Zealand has shut down completely. There is a nationwide lockdown after that first case of Delta variant was reported. Consecutively, they traced 6 more cases linked to the first one. One piece of positive news before we leave you for today. A Bangalore-based startup called EcoStep Technologies has developed a new and efficient design for sewage treatment plants that apparently takes inspiration from the digestive system of cattle or cows. According to a report in the BBC, with the help of Biomimicry Institute, Tarun Kumar and his team have designed and built 50 sustainable sewage plants that work exactly the way a cow's stomach works. The system has no moving parts, so it doesn't require any power or people to operate it. So apparently, the cow has a 4-chamber digestive system, which we learned in school. And the grass and whatever they eat passes from chamber to chamber, and the bacteria breaks it down. Kumar and his team, which run this company, have developed a treatment plant that mimic this structure and use bacteria from cow dung to break down waste in wastewater and treat the sewage in that sewage treatment plant without any electricity. So that's your good news for today. So it's a zero power, zero operator sewage treatment plant. And the team has been selected by the Museum of Design Atlanta to showcase their technology. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for listening and for tuning in and for supporting us. It is a pleasure to bring you the news every day. Leave us a suggestion or a thumbs up if you think that this bulletin is helping you and keeping you more informed. Thank you for watching. Good night.